Hey there, welcome to the YouTube show. I'm Chris, got Craig and Joe with me. Thanks. It's been a tough night for my family. Daughter's just having a little bit of conniption, and thanks to Craig and Joe for their patience. We're doing this a little bit later than we normally do, and thanks for the flexibility, guys. I really appreciate it. I'll say it to start. Hey, Craig, these weeks I don't know if they've gone by fast or it seems like last week's taken a year to get by. But I'm blanking a little bit on what we talked about last week on YouTube. What did we talk about on YouTube last week?
Jeez. Every week you ask me this, and every week I forget because it seems like it was forever ago.
Well, 2 weeks
Um,
ago we talked about the Big Mac guy, right? That
we
was.
talked about Joshua Weissman doing the Big Mac.
Oh! Uh, Not Kate, Karen Nate.
Kara and
Yep,
Nate, yeah,
that was
the
it.
Yes.
That was it.
carrying the wife world championships.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure about Karen Nate. I mean, I guess they're okay. They're a little too peppy for me. But tonight, wanted to take a quick look. I think I'm getting old, guys. I'm not the oldest one here, but I'm close to the oldest age. I'm getting into history documentaries on YouTube and YouTube TV. Joe, you're an older chap too. I won't give away our age. It's impolite to ask men our ages. Oh, that's women, I guess. But are you more into history docs the older you get, or maybe just me? Maybe I'm old.
I was actually talking to Craig there a little bit earlier about how the video that we watched tonight. I remembered living the history of it,
Yeah,
and I dig history, and I've always liked history, old history. Go to Europe where they got buildings older than our country history, that sort of stuff, right? But on the other hand, you know, it's pretty neat to remember that no, Tyson was 20.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Well,
when he unified the title. It's like, I'm the same way, man. I can go down a history rabbit hole on YouTube
Yeah.
or even just reading about stuff on Wikipedia, and the next thing you know, I'm like, where did the last 3.5 hours go?
right. It's new stuff. It's not always the. It's not only the best done videos. It's just more of. It could be some goofball taking illegal clips from games and just throwing them together, and I'm like all in.
Right, just
So
because of how they piece it together and how they narrate the story and whatnot, and just different takes that people can have on it. I enjoy it,
right.
you know, how they get to the ideas.
Now Craig's in whippersnapper. He's like, I don't need history, right? Or do you watch any history?
I mean, I enjoy history. I mean, I guess I'd rather watch like World War One or World War Two documentaries or things
Okay.
like that. But I enjoy history.
So we got Nutty History. I followed these guys for a while. I don't know how current it is. I mean, it could be somebody like me and Joe just editing video clips together. Like, I don't think it's necessarily going to be like a Netflix show or anything. I mean, do you guys know anything about the history of these guys,
No, I don't
or
know
women,
any.
or
This is
whoever
the
put
first,
this
yeah,
together?
it's the first I've experienced Nutty History.
Okay. I mean, they kind of tried to. I mean, obviously it's history, but they try to do some silly parts of it, and there's a weird history. There's like a bunch of other history type things on there, but Nutty History. Let's talk about this one. I went through Nutty History and I was trying to find something with Ohio reference in it, and I don't know if you guys remember, but Mike Tyson for a while lived up in the Youngstown area. I think it was like Warmington or something. It had kind of that type of name. It was a suburb of Youngstown. He had a big mansion, and as Joe said, for a while, Mike Tyson was the. I hate to say the S. It sounds like I'm saying a swear word, but he was the man. He was the.
He was the baddest man on the planet.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
he lived up to the hype. You know,
Well,
I don't know how else to say it.
yeah, for a several year period. I mean, there was pay per view back for boxing, but it kind of took people off because they pay for a fight, and Tyson would beat somebody up in 20 seconds. You're like, what?
Yeah.
I paid $60 for a 20-second fight. It was rough, but
Right.
he was dominant. And actually, ironically, and this it referenced it in the thing we watched tonight, but we talk about Ohio. We're still technically called the Ohioan. It was a Battle of Ohio where he got upset because Joe, I'm not sure if you know this. James Buster Douglas was the guy
yeah.
that beat Tyson, and Douglas is a Columbus guy. I mean, Douglas, other than all the Ohio State guys down here, Douglas is one of the more famous Columbus natives because Douglas had the upset of the lifetime. How he beat Tyson. It was funny. It was Ohio matchup, but it was in Tokyo, so it was kind of like a neutral court game. I mean,
Right.
been interesting. That fight maybe been in like Akron or something, but it was pretty good. Yeah, and I guess Craig. I don't think Buster Douglas did much after that, right?
Kind of a forgettable career overall after that, but he's always known as that one guy, and that's all he needed to be was that one guy, and he will always go down in history as being the man who beat Mike Tyson, who was seen to be unbeatable at the time.
Yep. Yep. He is the dude who did it. He derailed the Kid Dynamite juggernaut, at 40-1 odds or something stupid like that, just ridiculous underdog odds. But he did. He just won. I mean, the clips from the fight. He just DKO. We beat him.
We are
still stunning.
Yeah, definitely. We are taping this probably a week and a half after Mega Millions, which there's always Mega Millions, but this one was kind of crazy. It was 1.3 billion. People were estimating, maybe depending on how you took, if it was a lump sum or paid in deferments, not deferments, but paid by year, whatever the word for that is.
Right.
You would make about 600-700 million, and we're sitting here, and it was hard to think about how you would spend that. I mean, it would take a while to spend that. Well, Tyson not only found a way of spending it, the documentary talks about he lost 685 million, which is hard to do.
Yeah.
What surprised you from watching it? Was there anything that surprised you the most of what he wasted his money or spent his money on? Something stick out to you guys?
Well, probably the exotic animals. I mean, I think we've all kind of known that, but I didn't realize he was into pigeons either, which was kind of interesting. We knew about the tigers, but the pigeons were interesting. But yeah, the tigers were pretty expensive, $4,000 a month to feed his tigers, which I don't remember how many he had at his height of his tiger ownership, but that's a lot of money to feed a pet. But I think the pigeons were interesting to me. I didn't know that he was into pigeons of all things.
Yeah, he should have stuck with the pigeons. There's no way that you imagine how many pigeons you got. How many pigeons you're going to have to cost you $4,000 a month to feed them? That is a lot of birdseed, But yeah, I was surprised at that too, Craig, and I knew he blew through his fortune because he was in Hangover. I mean, that's how he ended up there. But I didn't realize it was that much. And you're right. That's an excellent comparison. He lost the second highest Powerball or Mega Millions jackpot winnings. What you'd get paid if you won, really. He lost that. And I mean, not necessarily lost it. I mean, I'm not going to say anything about, scurrilous managers or whatever who, made off with, barrels of money from him. I don't know if you can fairly say that Mike Tyson lost that fortune when a good portion of it was stolen from him, I'm quite sure, or embezzled or whatever. But yeah, just think about that. Yeah, however you want to ego, whatever, just there it goes. That's a lot of money, though.
Yeah, and it's funny. I was praising Gordon Ramsay up and down a few weeks ago for that Mr. Beast appearance he did. It's kind of funny. Tyson's kind of taken on that character where Tyson was that crazy wild fighter. He bit a guy's ear. There was all kinds of crazy stuff happening. And now, where I see Tyson, was he on the Trump roast? He was on one of the Comedy Central roasts recently. He was also on, what was it? Kimmel. He makes some appearances on Jimmy Kimmel Live.
Right, you did that recently.
And it's more of, I think he's taken on that slapstick role where, and maybe Hangover prepared him for that, where he's gone from the I'm a crazy fighter to just being a crazy guy.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
he certainly repaired his image to some degree, and he paid his debt to society in prison, and he's come out, and
Hmm.
things seem to be. I don't know if they've gone well since the Hangover. I think there's been some ups and downs probably
Right.
for him
Right.
financially, but Joe, I think one of the things that you'll always probably remember, even if you didn't follow boxing or even know who he is, if you watch The Hangover, it's probably something that you remember. Oh, that's that guy from The Hangover,
Right. Right.
and he played himself maybe to an 11, I guess, and
Hmm.
that he was a pretty memorable part of that film, and that's
Oh.
and
Oh
that's
yeah.
kind of where he got a jump start in revitalizing his life and his career and his finances and his ability to be out in the public eye and also sort of be known as something more than a boxer and also maybe something more than some of his past transgressions as well.
Right. Right. And that's and it's interesting that you brought that up too. That he did. I mean, hey, he had all sorts of allegations and at the height of his career, which of course, when you're that famous, you're an enormous target for all sorts of things. But he was also convicted and went to prison and served his time and came out and went back to it.
Yeah.
Although to lighten things up, another thing that he will always be remembered for is Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
Yeah.
Man, the Nintendo Entertainment System. I remember I had it. We had the game we had the game when you fought Mike Tyson for the
Yeah.
championship.
Yeah.
And I could still play that game. Probably I could pick it up and probably within like 5 minutes be back into relative fighting form on it. I mean, there's so many people who he influenced across entertainment.
Yeah.
His WWE stuff, WWF,
Yeah.
WWE, whatever. I mean, there's all sorts of things where,
Yeah.
It's again movies and video games and rest. I mean, he. I'm trying to remember now. Didn't he get into it with? There was a storyline where he got into it with Steve Austin, Stone Cold Steve
Yeah.
Austin.
Stone Cold. Yeah.
That was it. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
he's. Mike Tyson will be famous for a long time.
And we talk about the amassed wealth that he kind of went through. Imagine how much more wealth he could have had he held out for more money on Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
Oh my goodness! Yeah,
Where I think they said it was 50,000. I don't know if it was 50,000 a year for 3 years, but it was 50,000 instead of millions that he probably could have been owed had he maybe held out. But I think they said at the time he kind of just needed to cash in, and that was good money at that time. So he did what he did. But I can't even imagine how much wealth he would be sitting on had he maybe held out a little bit for Mike Tyson's Punch Out to be at its height of popularity.
Right. And I think if he just waited a year,
yeah,
somebody, it wasn't long at all.
I think that's what they said, a year or so.
Right.
Yeah, the Super Nintendo Punch Out and what was the football game? The
Tecmo Bowl.
Yeah,
Tecmo Bowl.
Those were the two games that were like. And I'm a dork. I still play video games. Like I already got the Madden 23 on back order. But at that time, I mean, those two, the Punch Out and the Tecmo Bowl were like the Madden games of back then. I mean, there was a bunch of clunker video games at the time as well as now. But man, those two were the fun games to have back then. So, all right, very cool. Any of the thoughts you had from the show? This was nice. This is 16 minutes. Usually, I stick you guys with like a 10-hour video that asks you questions about everything. Any of your thoughts on this one? I had a couple other YouTube thoughts. I'm almost feeling like a YouTube beat writer. I've got all this YouTube stuff to share from guys we've talked about in the past.
Well, it's funny. I up until today I didn't know what video we were going to watch, and you guys might have been following Twitter, but Mike Tyson's been pretty active on Twitter the last couple of days as he's getting into this big spat with Hulu, which will have I believe it will be a limited series or maybe a movie based on him. and he's not very happy about that. So it's kind of interesting that we're talking Mike Tyson at the height of his popularity and blowing through all this money, and then here he's kind of going at it with Hulu over I guess the rights to his story, so to speak.
Yeah. I had forgotten about that, and you're right. I just saw that, I think, over the weekend. I mean, kind of caught up on some social media stuff, and it's interesting to see. And like the end of this video, the one that we watched it's the idea is like, is he back? Can a 53-year-old man do this? And I when they caught up, as soon as I saw the premise for the video, I was like, well, Foreman did it at 40 something,
Yeah.
And sure enough, of course, they went there as well. But yeah, I just as soon as I'm saying there's no way he's going to do it, my brain says it's Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
He'll probably get in the ring with somebody, and then I got to thinking, who would he fight? And then I thought, well, there's Evander. No, he'll rule that out. And I thought, ooh, like Logan Paul. Ooh, like, well, he's claiming it now, right? He's like, I'm a boxer.
That would be.
Is Hulu doing that kind of suck-up series on the Lakers?
I don't know.
No.
Or is that Apple?
Apple did a documentary on Magic Johnson.
But there is one coming out like the next week or two, talking about how great the Lakers are and how they're wonderful and everything.
Who did this? There's a series on the it's a docudrama on the Lakers right now that's already out. Right. And who's doing that? Because there's another one.
Apple TV Plus did the documentary series centered around Magic Johnson. HBO did the very fictionalized but sometimes true Lakers of the 1980s, their rise to their dynasty in a very over the top way.
Right, that was
which was really good, by the way. And obviously you got to take some of it with a grain of salt, but some of it was also true too. So, there's a lot of Lakers love out there, but there's also some people that are kind of telling different stories as well.
Right, but I guess what I'm saying is, and I'll send you a link because I actually found it. I thought maybe I was like hallucinating this, which could happen. It's been a rough week, but hang on a second. Let me. I found the link. Let me throw it in private chat so you guys can take a look if you like. There's a story here talking about LakersOutsiders.com. I could have sworn I saw an ad for it on Hulu. There's a 9-part Lakers series, and it's just pretty much, we're going to tell you why the Lakers are so wonderful. So you got that, you got the Magic series that, Craig was talking about on Apple, and you got Winning Time, which I love the docudramas where you're just saying crazy stuff, but my goodness. And then I guess Tyson's mad because it's this unauthorized docudrama, which would be like Winning Time. Man, it must be a great time to be in TV, but you can make all these series. You've got about 3 angles of everything in history that you can talk about. From the docudrama to the suck up to one part of the organization, to suck up about the other part of the organization.
Oh, just imagine. Even just the difference between now and when it was just cable. The streaming services have opened things up even more. But back in my day when we had 3 channels and you had to have an antenna up on top of the house with aluminum foil on it to get CBS or whatever, But just imagine, even just 20 years ago, the entertainment, the video entertainment that we wouldn't have that we have today. Like, there's how many Lakers series do we need, or limited series or whatever? Not to knock them, but there's been like 3 or 4 over like a 6-month span here, which is.
And we've got 29 other NBA teams we can go through. Winning Time, Sacramento Kings, they were good for a year or two. Why not?
Oh man, and just dig into the Knicks. Come on.
Yeah.
How have you not won it? Oh, never mind.
No, I used to watch a lot old Sacramento Kings with Lade Divac and Mike Bibby. Wouldn't that be great? A winning time about those guys. Crank
Yep.
out with them. I don't know. It'll be good. All right, some items of business. I actually got an outside recommendation, and this could be good. I want to show you this one for next week's show. My friend Paul Yanchek, who we podcast with on Wednesdays, we were talking about. They want to know what we did Mondays. Like, what do you guys do? And so I described the stuff we did, and then Paul's like, "You've got to watch this show." Let me find it real quick. There's this cook that's not that good, and he showed me this video. This lady was making stuff that looked awful, and she's got this really annoying voice. It's one of those things where like she's there, and she's into herself, and everyone else thinks she's crazy, but it's kind of hard not to watch, and she's got fans. Let me see if I can find it for you guys.
Well, I know there's going to be another, like a TV mini-series of Mike Tyson's story that's also not necessarily going to come out this year, but Jamie Foxx is going to play Mike Tyson in that.
Oh, that's right. I had forgotten about that.
Yeah, so this Hulu series is not the Jamie Foxx series. So it's very strange, but yeah, there's like two different Mike Tyson. I mean, it's weird because with all the streamers, like you said, Joe, you can do whatever you want, but then, like for instance, this year we're getting 2 Pinocchio movies, and you've got 2 Mike Tyson projects, and you just seem to have 2 of the same things sometimes come out in Hollywood because there's not a lot of creativity right now.
Right.
Let me preview next week. And again, my friend Paul, pretty much his message to me was, "You have to talk about this." He said a must-watch for a YouTube show. Let me play the first couple seconds.
Oh man,
you guys should hear this. This lady is called Kay's Cooking.
I'm watching it right now, and it's
right.
It's bad. It's bad, man.
Oh.
Like, that's disgusting looking.
The description of the video is cooking. That's it. It's one word. That's the description.
Well, she's trying to make meatballs, and she's taking it right out of the package and putting it right into egg wash, and then putting them on a pan. She's not putting any binder in it. She didn't put any flour on it to then put the egg wash on it, and then maybe put like another crispy coating. I mean, wow, this is I'm kind of like, this is like a car wreck that you just can't look away.
Well, did you guys hear her when I played her?
I didn't hear it, but I didn't need to hear anything to know that this is.
You sort of should.
It's right. A mess.
Okay. I'm not sure if when I play something it comes through your guys' ears.
Yeah.
Okay, well, just when you get time, because we've got next week's show to talk about. Let's don't spoil the show yet. But the video that Paul selected for us, you hear the first 5 seconds and you're like, oh my gosh. I mean, I hate to say this. I'm sure my voice turns off some people. This lady's voice, I mean, you're about ready to run out of the room once you hear her voice. I mean, it would be very tough.
Oh man, I like fast forwarded to the final product, and it just looks gross. It just looks disgusting.
And I bet you, and let's try to reach out to her. I mean, I bet you Kay's Cooking would be available. Like, I don't think Gordon Ramsay would have time for us. I think Kay's probably waiting by her phone. If we were live, Kay would probably hear this and be calling us and going, "Hey, let's do an interview right now. It'd be great.
The very first comment on this, and there's 732 comments, by the way, but the very first comment on it says, "I would pay real money to see Gordon Ramsay's reaction to this."
It'd be fantastic. So next week, Kay's Cooking. She tells us how to make meatballs, and maybe we even get Kay on. It might be a doozy. trying to figure out anything else YouTube wise. Mr. Beast got 100 million subscribers. He had a new video. He gave away an island to celebrate it. It was kind of entertaining.
Right? Why not? You know.
Yeah.
Here's a giant piece of land.
I'm confused. Dame Drops said he wasn't making videos, but he put out 3 in the last week. So I know Craig and Joe are upset, but I'm happy. So live forever, Dame Drops.
I came across. You know what? I came across the Dame Drops. After you said that, I was kind of like, all right, great. I'm going to be able to surf through YouTube and not see it anymore. But yeah, as soon as I said that, I get on there and he's got eating Little Caesars pizza and eating some fish at Arby's, which I'm not sure why you'd want to do that, but
I brought him back. He was sad to hear from you guys. But
he didn't want to retire. He's like, I gotta keep producing videos for Chris. And
Chris has got to be happy. Let's keep Chris happy. What else from the dopes that we watched? Kurt Kaz. I think this was in the past week. I haven't checked in on Kurt lately. He's in Venezuela and he got detained by secret police. And
I'm not surprised.
Yes,
I'm not surprised.
So, Kurt Kaz probably will be executed pretty soon. Who knows?
Jokes.
He's jokes. No, I'm not.
If the Venezuela sweet secret police are listening to us,
yes.
Don't get policy from us.
Right. We love the Venezuela secret police. They're wonderful. Anything else? It seemed like a lot of stuff was happening. Because I'm watching this stuff. I'm down. I mean, I just got YouTube TV for the football season. I'm not even watching YouTube TV. It's like I want all my creators, Dame Drops and Katina does Kilos, all those other places, it'll be good. So that's about it with there. So next week, Kay's cooking. Can't wait. I'm sure Kay will be excited to hear somebody's talking about her. It'll be fantastic.
Oh, joy.
Yeah. Like I said, some fun podcasts out there. Oh, I forgot. Zach Campbell. We had him on. He was a baseball collector. Mm-hmm. He was trying to get me to go to a Reds or a Guardians game. And as Joe knows, we're introducing Presto Sweet at work, and we haven't had time to think, let alone try to find foul balls at baseball games. Zach was telling me he was giving advice. Don't approach him while he's trying to catch a foul ball and all this other stuff. Did we talk about Fenway Chris? He had a big long talk about Fenway Chris. It's his camera guy that gets drunk during games and stuff. That was good. I thought he said something else that you guys may have been interested in. I don't know. Check out the interview with Zach Campbell. He was being Zach, and it was good. What else? Craig, you talked about Thor. Did Big Bob Garver love the movie Thor?
You know what? Surprisingly, Bob Garver liked Thor: Love and Thunder.
Wow.
I was
Bob
a little shocked by it. Bob's usually pretty harsh, and he also enjoyed DC Super Pets as well. So we did a little lightning fast round of 7 movies that he caught up on while we were away, and one of those was Thor, and one of them was the Super Pets, and he enjoyed both of those. So surprised that Bob enjoyed them. And then, of course, George and Thomas and I got back together as well. He talked Prey, the Predator prequel that's streaming on Hulu right now, and he enjoyed that. So
okay, I'm hearing a lot of good things about Prey.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it, and it's coming from different corners of the internet. It's not just the Predator fandom or the sci-fi fandom. There are a lot of people. I mean, I'm even seeing memes about it now, relating back to the original movie. And which is kind of interesting to see. So I am and they were going to. It was another interesting tidbit from that they were going to release 2 versions of it. One in English and then one in the original. I believe it was Comanche. I hope I'm getting the right language, but it was just cost prohibitive. Was the reason.
Right.
But I was like, wow, that's a really ambitious even idea to have. When they were prepared to do it. So good on them for that. So I'm looking forward to seeing that one sometime when we can breathe.
Yeah, jeez, if that'll ever happen again. Yeah, and again, Cash App. Just download Cash App, attach your card to it. Very similar to PayPal. I'll be honest with you. I usually use PayPal, but then I started. A bunch of people like I can only pay in Cash App, so I download Cash App. It's great. You can easily pay each other. Like if you're splitting a bill, or if you mow someone's yard, someone mows your yard. Also, you're going out to eat. You save money. Save 20%. I'm not making any political comments here, but inflation's driven a lot of stuff up. So save money when you can. Cash App lets you save money. You can invest in Bitcoin if you're into that. I wouldn't do that right now, but maybe a year or so, Bitcoin would be great.
Yeah.
So it should be good. So, all right. Anything else you guys want to mention before we end this for now?
No. I hope we survived the making meatballs video, because I went through it and there's a redo of making meatballs, which, if it could have gotten worse, it did get worse with the second video. Yeah.
Look, I'm just saying, we survived Mike Tyson. I hope we can survive Kay's meatballs.
Yeah.
I'll see if we're good enough to get Kay on our show. Can we book Kay? We'll see if we've got enough clout to book Kay.
Yeah, we'll see.
If we do, I got a feeling she'll talk a long time. We may need to book more than a half hour, but we'll see. Let's see. What else? You know what? I'll say this. This has actually been the news, and we all work there, so I'm not going to get into too much detail. But hey, support local journalism right now. Companies are having a tough time. We all have our feelings on why they're having tough times, but right now, support local journalism. It may not always be around like you think it's going to be around if you don't support it. I'll just put it like that. So, just support what we're doing. It's very important right now. So, all right. So for Joe and Craig, this is Chris. Have a good one. Thanks for checking us out. Good night, everybody.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Mooney. Welcome to what is our new Hope Interrupted podcast, based on the work from our book, Hope Interrupted, that I co-authored with my good friend Byron McCauley.
Hey, Jennifer, I'm looking forward to this podcast as much as I was looking forward to writing this book with you. We hope to interview some high impact folks, as well as have a little fun.
We're going to cover stories of hope. To learn more about our podcast and our book, please visit www.hopeinterrupted.com.